The Universus TMNt pre-release starts soon. Everybody make sure that Master Donny and the boys were signed up. So let's head over to YouTube and here we go. And let's look for a local pre-release in our area. So I'm looking for one in New York, as that is where myself and the boys live. Perfect for one. Now let's just sign up myself and the boys to make sure we can get what is this now.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
Well, unlike Metalhead, we can still sign up for the TMNt Universus pre-release and get ourselves these Leo's Katana pre-release promos. And if you sign up before August 8th, you can get yourself 60 additional loyalty points that you can use on the UVS Redemption store on promos, playmats, products, and even sleeves. Make sure you check out play.uvs.com to find out where your local pre-release is and sign up today. I'll see you at game night. Here's our boring and basic intro because Connor refused to sing. We are back with reveals, and I've asked Connor to come along because he was part of the UK versus episode we did where we're talking about the new player experience, and that is what we're here to look at today. The TMNt starter deck. We're going to, rather than just go over the cards, talk about the cards, we're going to talk about the deck as a whole. How it is designed, if we feel it's appropriate for new players, if we think that it's going to give new players a good experience, and most importantly, if it's a good tool for them to be learning the game. We've just seen an article from IGN drop where they were talking about how complicated the game is and that the new player resources don't cover everything. And then we were given the opportunity to talk about the starter deck and our opinions on it. And I thought, well, best thing to do would be get Connor back in. So, hello, Connor. How are you?
Not bad, everyone. We're going to be like just running through these probably then.
So there are 6 unique cards, well 5 if you don't include the character. The rest are all 80s art alternatives to cards that we already have in the set, making it desirable for collectors and players that are looking to play the game with a bit more of an 80s twang, because I know a lot of people, when they heard we were getting TMNt, this is what they were expecting to see.
Yeah.
And not the newer stuff, which I know a few people have been disappointed in. Let's talk about the 5 unique cards and the character. Starting off with the character themselves, we have a 6 hand size, 22 health, retro Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, who is a mutant on the all and good symbols with a very basic enhance off. This attack gets +1 speed or +1 damage for each attack in your card pool. How do you feel this is for people coming in to learn the game?
It's very basic. It has to be to an extent basic, but it feels like it could have been something a wee bit more.
No, that makes a lot of sense. It could have been more in depth. I mean, the Beauregard and Percy starters did have a little bit more interaction aspects to them.
Yeah.
It may be a hot take. I am a fan of the lower health.
Yeah, the low health stuff is fine. I'm fine with that, like, because you don't want people having 30 plus health, because it takes long enough to get through a game as normal. And if you're trying to teach somebody, like, you just want them to understand the basics. Like, I was actually quite happy with some characters when they were at 15 and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, these are not meant for existing players. We know that. I feel as if like people really need to get off of that point, as if they're still meant for like us. It's like, can we move past that?
Now, I do agree with what you're saying there. When you're looking at this for new players only, but without buying any additional product, you can't take this to locals and be on an even keel in your character with everybody else.
Yeah, I'd say that's pretty fair.
These are designed for new players. The TMNt one is also kind of aimed at current players and collectors because they have got these other cards in there, as well as this alternate art. We've got the rare attack of the deck, the high 3, which is a 6 diff, 6 mid for 6, all attuned with blitz. The speed and damage values of your next attack you play become 6. So this is a quite cool card to give new players learning. It's a bit higher difficulty than I would expect in like a starter, but I guess that exposing them to this kind of high difficulty early is quite good.
Yeah, and I think as well, it's like it's making the next thing a 6/6. You've got 3 diffs, you've got 4 diffs and stuff in the deck, so it makes sense. Like it does seem strong. This is the unique one as well, isn't it? To the
Yeah, we're
So, like-
we're only going to go over the unique ones at the minute.
Yeah.
We'll quickly touch on the non-unique ones because
fair.
a lot of them have already been spoiled.
Everyone's been spoiled, so that's fine. So yeah, no, for a neat card, like yeah, I can see why somebody might want to pick this up. Like I could see that having playability outside of the starter.
Then we have martial arts moves and ally kick punch, free diff, free high for free on the all attuned. It's a blank card. This one, I can understand why they've kept it in the starter deck. Without any no ability kind of synergy, I think this is a great learning kit card, but it's not a card you kind of want to see in your sealed or draft pool.
Yeah, I'm going to be a bit harsh. I don't think we need blank cards floating about in starters because they don't teach anybody anything.
Well, this is the kind of card.
Other than feel bad moments when you just draw into them.
I feel bad when you draw into them, but when you're learning, it's a good example of just a basic attack to get your head around attacking, blocking, speed, and damage only without having to worry about other abilities. It's the kind of card you'd expect in the demos, so it's kind of like
yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like we've seen the Attack on Titan ones,
Yeah.
and they're all blank basically. And it's impossible to teach somebody the game when everything's blank because the game fundamentally then just doesn't work.
yes.
But
But this is
I would have liked that to be something that is, I get that actually combos pretty well with the
high free.
the high 3, which is totally fair. But I kind of think like you're not always going to see high 3. Can we just have a bit of tech? Give it stun. just
I'm in the opposite camp of that. If I was teaching someone the game using the TMNT starter deck, this is the kind of card I would want first to go. This is your attack. This is how difficult it is to play. This is what it will check for when you make it as a check. It's speed, it's damage, and we'll go through an attack just using this because the moment the player sees other words on that card, they're not going to be focusing on the attack. They're going to be focusing on, well, what else can this card do? It's like, no, let's get your head around the intricacies of attacking.
There's demo decks for that. Because if you're showing somebody a 3 diff to start off their turn, fundamentally you're teaching them how to attack wrong. or something that like crazy that I would do just to like set dominance.
I mean, we might
I get it though. I do get it.
That's a fair point if we see TMNT demo decks, but we haven't really seen new demo decks since AOT. And
I think they're still floating about where we just don't. I think we don't necessarily need those styles. They need to be revamped to actually work personally. For sure.
It's one of those things that if someone comes in because they like TMNT, they're going to want to learn using TMNT, so we need to be able to demo the game with TMNT.
Yeah.
Then we move on to the card I called out. Unfortunately, it's in the starter, not in the main set. And we have the backup Splinter. Unique mutant, free diff, free stamina, 2 low block with response. After you have played an attack, if your character is a mutant, add that attack to your opponent's momentum. I think this is a solid card.
It's a pretty solid card.
It's a great way to teach your opponent about dropped attacks because, spoiler, they do show up on the judge exam as well, and how dropped attacks will interact with players, with backups, talking about the best times to use this, having that kind of defensive aspects as well, and they're showing there's different ways to defend. And it's great to see backups in here because they are a big part of how the game is played.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, they show up now. People have to acknowledge they exist. Like they are getting way stronger as well, which is good.
Yeah, and
So,
I think this is just going to see actual play in standard. It just goes your attack goes to your momentum, get wrecked.
Yeah, it's like Swordfish, but a backup first.
Fair. And
Technically, obviously you have to be a mutant as well, but like this set has its fair few, so like I think we're all right there.
I mean, you've got the mutant as your starter character, so that's majority of the time you're going to be doing it. And given how we've seen things like the Keg and Jarrett's that have given people character traits, we may see something along the lines, because Mutant Mayhem 2 is coming out. We've still got the other half of Tales of TMNT. We could see something in the future that makes us into mutants.
True.
Then moving on to the last 2 cards, we have Teenage Downtime, a 1 difficulty, 5 control, 3 high block, enhance, draw 1 card, and then add 1 card from your hand to the bottom of your deck. If that's at the top of your deck, cracked.
Yeah.
Absolutely cracked. With especially when you've got people like Bishop and stuff going on. Well, that doesn't share symbols. But if you could guarantee your next check or guarantee your next draw, or just like have to mess about with it, be perfect.
Yeah, I like this one. It's a good bit of spam.
Yeah. It's a nice one, and again, it's a great way of showing people card draw, how to make the right decisions on what you're putting back. And then we have Thumbs Up, the most confusing card in the entire deck for me. 3 difficulty, 1 mid block, 5 control, good attuned. Flip, your rival spends 1 momentum. If they can't, gain 2 health, so it synergizes with Splinter quite well. What confuses me is, why is it a pizza?
Oh, yeah. Why?
Yeah, right?
Oh, Christ. Why have they done that? For God, it annoys me to no end when they just randomly add keywords to cards. Unless there was a small chance, right, where April O'Neil's might be holding a bit of pizza and then they get that license off.
Do you know what the really annoying part is, Connor?
Mm-hmm.
Teenage Downtime is not a pizza.
Yeah, I know, and they're holding pizza. Yeah, I've just seen that to be fair. Like, Hungry for Pizza has pizza in the photo. Like, does anything else have pizza in this deck?
Hungry for Pizza has got pizza, so that's
fine. Yeah.
That's fine. Going Out
has
pizza, but there's pizza in the art.
That's fine. There's pizza in the art. We'll take it. Yeah, everything else has pizza in the art. Do better.
And it's a unique card, so it's not like in the main set it's going to have pizza because it's not in the main set.
That's good annoying.
So when let's have a look at the rest of the deck pretty quickly. We've got 1 attack for each of the boys. We have 3 attacks with each of the guys on there, including Freaking Out, which is to me a very cool card because it rewards you for checking a value of a 3 by getting to mill 1 and getting damage. It becomes a 4 low for 8 if you check poorly. We got Redirecting Push, which is a flip, which is another Faith Shield kind of effect, a flip effect on block. Reactive Kick, if you block this card, draw a card. And Growing Up Fighting, build 1 foundation with a printed difficulty 2 or less from your card pool. So each of these attacks kind of teach you a different way to play this game, a different way to activate your turn. Redirecting and Reactive are more talking about using attacks as a defensive piece, which a lot of loot players don't know about. Freaking Out gives you this aspect of if you check poorly, it's still worth passing the check. Going Out is if you deal damage, and Growing Up is a way to go. You can play foundations to get around breakers and to get around other effects, and then still benefit from them if you build your deck correctly.
Yeah.
It's one of the things I do like. I when I'm looking at this is teaching players multiple play styles, letting them kind of see what feels good to play for them as players. Is a very good one. The Percy and Bow ones were very well designed, but they were very linear. It was like, this is how you need to play it, and that is kind of the aspect you went down.
Like, looking through it all, it actually does look like a pretty decent starting point.
Looking at foundations, it's all about enhancing your attacks, making sure they become better, become stronger, being able to build stuff. It's just, like I said, it's a solid starting point for players.
Yeah, for sure. Like, it does look pretty. Like, I'd imagine buying this and being able to teach somebody the game fairly well with this.
I have one complaint with it, which is something I'm shocked they've done after the praise they kind of got from the community and people with the Critical Role ones. There's no asset in here.
I think that's because you've got a backup.
But they had backups in the Critical Role one as well.
Did they?
Yeah, you had Sean Gilmore in Gilmore. So backups are very important. Assets, especially in this set, are very important as well. And I can understand leaving actions out of a starter deck. TMNt is doing stuff with schemes to make actions new player friendly, and actions are possibly the least new player friendly thing we have. But understanding assets is something that players need to know coming in. Similar with backups and along those lines. Having an asset in here that is just a nice asset that would help the deck and teach new players what assets give you would have made this a lot better to me, because going back to the IGN article that we had Scott White talking about, when your starter decks don't cover half of what's in the actual game, you're not preparing your players well enough for the actual events.
I'll quickly say, honestly, I don't actually know if there's a backup you could put in. Maybe the anti-mutant neutralizer, but then it doesn't feel on brand with the starter. The rest are all rares and stuff. The rest of them are all very set to one of the turtles. And you can't then just be like, well, we need to put all 4 in because the 4 of them are in it. I think that might be just a scenario of there's nothing heavily themed to go in.
Now, is there a world where you drop the 3 diff attack and you put a unique one in there?
For the reasons I said just there, I'm going to say no.
No.
Because I don't.
You don't put one in from the main set. You make a new one.
Make a new one.
So you drop the 3 diff attack, which is unique to this deck, and you put a new one in there, and you could you could put the hideout in there as a terrain, and you could have like the TMNT layer, or you could have like a pizza box or anything kind of just in there, which lets you teach about assets. And because this is already a more kind of slower multiple game way playing, only having what 18 attacks in it isn't going to feel too bad, especially when people learn about deck building. But I really think this was just missing an asset, either from the main set or a unique asset in here that was just the sewer base, and it was just basically like some kind of cool terrain ability. Like, it doesn't need to be good. It just needs to teach people what assets do and what they give to the game. And because
I want to say yes overall, but then at the same time, I also still want this to be themed enough. So you would have to drop maybe the 3 diff to then put in, like say pizza box. Let's just say that. But then, what's to then stop you saying, well, actually, you really need to have an action in there?
Well, actions aren't new player friendly. Actions are very complicated. They're a lot harder.
I would say neither are assets, though.
Yes,
or even backups, to be honest.
But assets don't have their own timing windows. They don't have multiple timing windows of when they can be played and when their effects can go off. They are built in similar as foundations and backups, unless you cheat them in, but we're not going to be teaching that to new players. Actions are a lot more complicated, which is where schemes are coming in to try and teach them, because they're always first forms. But it's just hit me. Asset Technodome. That's all you need to put in there. Asset Technodome, and you put it in there, and you just go, commit, this attack gets plus X, X equals the amount of attacks in your card pool, so you double up on your character ability, and you show what assets can do. I'm not saying this isn't a good product for new players, but I'm just saying, look, moving forward, you're putting players in a position where they're not going to know about assets, and not knowing about them gives players a bad experience going to their first events when they then experience assets, because assets are showing up more and more.
I would say that falls on a community level, though. Like, if you're getting new players in, right, and you're not fully teaching them the world of universes that leads to that, I would say that falls on the community. But
should the community have to pick up the slack for the company? Shouldn't the company be giving new players all the tools they need to be able to go to their first event and know what they're doing at a local level? Yes and no, right? Because this, at the end of the day, this is a starter, right? So this is your first player experience, right? If you start chucking in assets, I would honestly say at that point you would have to put in actions, because you can't say that an asset is something that's game defining once they learn it at an event. When somebody hits you with, like, oh, here's a blue card, and they go, wait, what? Oh, I thought there was 2 colours in this. Like, what's going on? Everything's going to trip up a new player. I think what you need to do is have the fundamentals. You need, here's your attacks. I mean, I even would question the backup, to be honest, being in this slightly, like, as a starter, but I can see why they've done it.
Like, you've got your attacks, you're putting your checks, you've got your foundations that allow you to pass for checks and do abilities. That's really all you're teaching somebody, and then teaching them how to attack and block.
But is that a starter deck or is that a demo deck?
I would say it's a starter, right? Because the demo decks honestly don't teach you that. Because the demo decks are mostly blank cards. So you're learning the absolute initial fundamentals without the elevation of what actually happens next. You're learning how to check a card from your deck to discard pile, and then that's it. That's basically what those demo decks teach you.
I guess it's something we just have to agree to disagree. I think yeah, I understand where you're coming from with it, and
yeah, that's the same here. I get what you're saying as well.
I think actions is actions are so very weird. It's the biggest thing people struggle on. So I do not think they should be in star decks. But I get what you're saying. If my argument says that they should be prepared for everything, so they should also be prepared for actions.
Yeah.
But going off like UVS's progression, they should really be exposed to those at a challenger level. But then they're also getting exposed to assets. So both arguments are valid.
Swings and roundabouts.
Yeah.
Yep.
Both of these are acceptable arguments. But then again, we're looking at this as established players. Going back to like Scott was saying, I understand in the IGN article saying having a starter deck product or having starter deck like stuff which doesn't cover any of it. So when you get your TMNT starter deck, it does talk about assets and actions, but it says once you're comfortable with your starter deck, take a look at the Challenger series where you'll get to experience assets and actions. Yeah, I will take back what I said because that is perfect. It's going, get used to what you've got here. Don't worry about this stuff until you've got a handle on the game, and then look at increasing your game when you're ready. Perfect. Yeah. The big question is, if you are at your store, if someone was buying this, would you feel they were going to get a good play experience learning the game through this deck?
Overall, yes. But I think it's super dependent on the store, right? Because like I know if somebody comes into Dominion up in Scotland and buys something, there's a high chance they're getting put directly in front of one of us. To then it's like Robert's not going to be able to teach the game at the stage he's at. So like he will pass that on to us. This is why I'm saying like the community matters with a lot of these products. They are almost a tool for the community to grow themselves. But like if somebody just randomly picks it up, it's the same as any game. Like how often have you picked up a deck for a random game and been like, right, this makes no sense how to play because there's no rule book or whatever, or the rules make no sense. You do need still that fundamental person.
Learning through someone is a great way. I learned this game by myself. No local stores in my area that play this game. So I learned MHA by myself. I learned it through the Jasco videos. I learned it by looking at other content creators like UVS Hermit and Ty. And that's kind of how I keep up to date with my knowledge as well. Yeah, having an enthusiastic, charismatic, passionate person teaching the game is always going to be a plus. But there's going to be a lot of people in the TMNT community picking this up, not from local stores or at times when there's not going to be anybody there, taking away that third party, taking away that additional person. Do you think playing this deck as is, with the learn to play resources we have, a player would have a good experience?
I'm going to say 50-50. Like, I think there is a lot of improvement. Like, the deck itself, like, looking through all the cards, and I'm like, right, cool, I know these comments and stuff. I'm like, right, I get it. If I was to slap this in front of, like, one of my friends that hasn't played the game, they'd probably just be like, yeah, that's a lot of cards. Thanks for that. Like, I think there's a lot of tools that need developed so that, yeah, as you say, if somebody has no teacher, basically, can this game be picked up? Kind of leaning towards no, to be honest.
But then that goes back to what you're saying about all TCGs, and is there ever a starter deck that someone can just pick up and with no TCG experience and go, yeah, I completely understand what this says.
Yeah. Like, people aren't even picking up Magic and being like, I know what they're doing. Like, you just have to get lucky and have people around you that teach you.
Yeah.
So I would say no. I think with a few extra tools, definitely a lot more QR codes potentially in products and stuff like that. Yeah, there is a good chance for it to get to a point where like somebody can pick this up and be fairly comfortable.
Yeah, I mean, the majority of people, and if you are interested and you're watching this, do go to your local store to pre-order. Let them know you're interested in this IP. make sure that if you are also sign up for pre-release and get a hold of the Leo's Katana promo and get to know the community in your area. Yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head there. This is a good starter product for people to get hold of the game, as long as the community helps people. And we do have one of the most passionate TCG communities out there. I don't think I've ever been to a store that has a UVS presence that has been a bad play experience from the community aspects of it. Everyone's lovely because we want as many people playing this game as we can. And as long as UVS is providing enough resources through the interactive Dized app, through the learn to play aspect, and then as long as ourselves, the content creators, are keeping new player friendly content going, we can kind of, to put it in UVS terms, be the foundations to allow this deck to attack new players.
Fair. I'll give you that one.
This has just been, well, it was meant to be a brief one, but we kind of got sidetracked just going into more the aspects of new players. I think the way that these have been designed is great. The character design is great for learning the game. I do wish there was an more updated version for going to locals, but it will encourage people to go out and actually buy more product, I guess.
Yeah, I can see enough people picking this up. I mean, High 3 does actually seem viable. So like I could generally see people picking this up. I'm assuming there's going to be 2 of them at least in a starter.
I can't imagine there wouldn't be. I imagine there's going to be at least...
So. I hope that's the scenario we're under.
I imagine it's going to be 2 of the rares, which is Splinter and High 3, 3 of the uncommons and 4 of the commons, which is... It's going to be great. That's how they've kind of done it with every other product. It'd be weird to change that now. This is a really cool product. If you're a TMNT fan from 1987, pick this up just for the amazing art. The UVS design team have done a great job capturing the turtles and like the feel of the 1980s cartoon in these cards. And hopefully it'll encourage you to play a little bit, because we've got a whole set of these cards coming. We've got amazing characters coming, and I would love to see more people playing at game night. Thanks for joining me, Connor. It was great getting your other side of the argument, because this would have just been me complaining there wasn't assets in there without someone to go, well, actually, they probably don't need them. But is there, as I always wrap these up, is there anywhere else anyone can find more of you and your opinions about Universus TMNt?
So if you want all the hot takes, you got to go to It's Just Sea Dog on Twitch and YouTube. 90% of the time, I'm not actually specifically doing something card game related, but I'm almost always chatting about it anyway. So you can just chat about it as in there. Obviously, I also work on the Daubers YouTube channel as well, where it's a little bit more constructive. But yeah, that's the 2 places that you'll find me specifically.
Yeah, it's been great having you here, Connor. We'll get you back in for more stuff as it goes on. Looking forward to see how the Daubers are going to react to the starter decking themselves. And I'll just reiterate it at the end here. If you are interested in TMNt, if you're a collector, if you love TCGs, or if you're just a brand new person looking to get into the game, our verdict is this is a great product for you to pick up and have a good play experience at your local store, and using the resources there to learn this game. And as most players will attest, once you get used to how this game's played, you'll stick around for all the other IPs, because it is one of the most fun and interactive games out there. I've been playing 3 years. Connor's been playing much longer. And my only regret is that I didn't find this game sooner.
Yeah, I'd say the same. I always say the same.
Exactly. So I'm going to sign off here. Thanks for being here. I'll see you at game night. And it's goodbye from me.
Catch us later on, everyone.